this was what we used to travel in, and I've always kept it.
I thought he was going to pull a fucking beauty of a shirt out. Yeah, you have. Still got all your playing shirts?
Nah. There you go, look.
That's fucking lovely. Look at that.
We used to travel in these.
Did you?
There you go.
Still fit.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I usually give an intro, but we're already underway, mate. Lions Lounge Lockdown, episode 46. David Budgie Byrne, thanks for joining us, mate.
No problem, Dan. Nice to see you.
All good, mate. All good. Starting out, we spoke about this on the phone, and I said, why do they call you Budgie? And you said, not a fucking clue.
It was just something that I think the old John Byrne at West Ham, who I never ever got to meet, but I have met the other John Byrne, of QPR and Ireland. In fact, it was my 60th birthday on Friday, and he sent me a nice message, which was, because he's living out in Spain now, but and I always call him Budgie number one.
Some said I put it on social, and I said to you on the phone, why'd they call you Budgie? And you went, fucked if I know. But some people said it's because you didn't stop talking.
Talking, all my fucking legs were so fucking skinny.
3 years.
Budgie's legs.
Budgie's legs. 2 years at the club, 1986 to 1988. How did that come about, you coming to Millwall?
See, that's wrong as well. I thought on my Wikipedia, if you look, I was there from 84, 85 season to when I left in 88, 89.
So 4 years at the club, 63
Nearly.
games and 6 goals.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, I thought you were going to say, that's not right either, 25 goals.
No. I was never a goal scorer, but now I can remember the goals. Not all of them, but some important ones. I scored when Orney made his debut at Sheffield United. I scored a goal at Bramall Lane that day. I scored against Reading. I think I scored on my debut.
You did. Well, this is the thing. I went back through the Wikipedia today and the Millwall history stats, and I looked, and it said you scored on your debut, which was a 1-0 win away at Reading.
Yeah.
Which was the 86-87 season.
Was it? Fucking.
Who signed you as the manager? Who signed you as the manager?
John Dock.
Yeah, so it would have been the 86-87 because Graham left in the summer of 86, and then the Dock took over. So
right.
Yeah, scored on your debut, mate. What was it like though coming to Millwall? Because I said you off air, you had a little bit of in terms, I suppose, could say a bit of a late start into the program. You had a few non-league clubs.
Yeah. Well, I played with Chris Kelly. Was my last club, Kingstonians. That's where Gillingham signed me from.
Right.
You know the Leatherhead Lip.
The Leatherhead Lip.
Do you remember him? Yeah, Chris Kelly. He was one of the top non-league players, and I played with him. And Billy Miller was the manager. But to be quite honest with you, I owe the opportunity down to Ted Buxton, who was Terry Venables' sort of number 2, if you like. But it was Ted that came to watch me. Keith Peacock was the manager of Gillingham, and they ended up paying, I think it was about 10 grand or something like that to Kingstonians. And I had a season at Gillingham, which I took to it like duck to water. I really enjoyed it. The fact that I was just doing football full time was like unbelievable. I never ever thought it would happen, and then to make a career out of it was brilliant.
We'll get onto it in a minute, but you very quickly went from non-league to Gillingham to Millwall to winning promotion. So it must have been, you was plucked from non-league, yes, but you was definitely up to the standard. Yeah,
I think if I remember rightly, I don't know if you've got all the facts and figures in front. I think I played 23 games the year we went up. Yeah, me and Mem came together. Yeah, in 25. 25 grand.
What was it?
Yeah, 24.99 for me and £1 for Mem. No, the pair of us came together, but I've got to say, Mem was, I've had a half decent career. I weren't the greatest player in the world, but I was one that always gave my best. A bit like, what Alan Walker said to you, when you were speaking to Walks. I was very similar. When the likes of George and all them came in, you knew that the writing was on the wall. It was like Alan. I never ever wanted to leave Millwall. If they'd have offered me a 10-year contract on the same money, I'd have taken it. Not a problem, because I just loved it there. The punters, everything about the club was brilliant.
So you was a right wing, is that right?
Well, either side. Yeah, me and Jimmy, we used to swap, didn't we? Me and Jimmy and me and Callie or whatever. Right. But, going back to, I was talking about Mem, I would say Mem's probably one of the most technically gifted midfield players come number 10s that I played with. He was exceptional. He was a real good player. And to be quite honest with you, he took me under his wing a little bit when we was at Gillingham, just to prompt me in the right direction, make sure I was doing the right things and everything. Not that he fucking ever did the right things, but he was good for me. He was really good. And Terry Cochran, I don't know if you remember, in Northern Ireland international winger, he was, he was at Gillingham at the time. And Cass was there as well.
Of course he was, yeah. So you must have had some side, that Gill scene then. We
did. We had a real good Derek Hales, Mark Weatherly. We had a good side. And then when I went to Millwall, everything sort of changed. It just, just going up a level. And as soon as John Dock phoned me and just said, do you fancy it? There was, I shit myself more trying to think of how I was going to go and tell Keith Peacock I wanted to go. But
did Doc come in for you? Did he? And he come in also. You and Dave Byrne was a double.
Yeah, I mean, I played against Brentford and had a real good game up against their left back Jamie Murray, who was a bit of a Stuart Pearce type, Mark Dennis type, and give him a bit of a torrid. And then next thing I know, then the phone's ringing and I'm on my way to Millwall.
Did he come in for one and then say, "Oh, how about him and all?" Or
no, the pair of us together.
Yeah, together.
Yeah.
Was he?
I remember rightly.
You said he took you under his wing, Mehmet. Was he older than you then?
No, well, I think we were more or less the same age, or maybe I don't know if he's a little bit older than me. I don't know how old Mem is.
No,
maybe I'm a little bit older
than him.
Was
he a bit more sensible and a bit more experienced then?
Yeah, he was more of a senior. He was a senior pro, and it was the same when I joined Millwall. People like Alan Walker and Rhino, and even though I was a lot older than them, just learning the ropes. As a professional footballer, I'd only been doing it for a year. I'd only just come in. So. But both Gillingham and Millwall, they were two real good dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Real good dressing rooms. And obviously I know Terry because he comes from the same neck of the woods as me, like at Brentford. Okay. And I that's where I started my schoolboy football at Brentford. So I knew Terry, Stan, but I used to go and have a beer with him and Bowlesy, and so. They were two good clubs with two good sets of pros that were always there to lend a hand. They'd also kick your nuts as well if you was to step out of line. But I was lucky in that sense. And Mem was one that just with some of the, the little nudges that he'd give you, it was always in the right direction. He was good for me, Mem.
You said two very good clubs. Two very different types of fan base. What was it like to transition to the Den as a ground and also the fan base? Different kind of animal.
Completely. I don't think I've ever been at a club where the fans frighten the fucking like their own players, let alone the away players. But they were brilliant. I loved it. I just thought they were just a different breed. Then I don't think they're unlike any other set of supporters, providing they can see that you ain't going to go out there and arse about, go and give it your best shot, go and put a shift in. They just stand by you, you know. And you know, for the 3.5 years I was there, it was it's the best club I'd played at, you know. And the fact that we actually won promotion as well, which, you know, I've got my medal. You know, no one can ever take away that I've got, you know, I've got as it is now, the championship medal.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So we'll get on to that in a bit. But it was interesting to say, you said you played either wing. You had Callie there at the beginning and Jimmy. So two very good Millwall players from the past.
Yeah.
But what did the doc say to you? You know, your role's going to be this, or you got to come and fight for your shirt, or I'm going to use you alternate, or did he give you any spiel, or did he just?
No, as soon as I came in, he put me straight in the side. And in my first season, I can't remember, I think I must have played about
43 games, 5 goals.
You know, so, but you could then see that the nucleus of the squad, with with some additions, you could see, you know, not light at the end of the tunnel, because the light was already there.
Yeah, of course.
You could see something that, like what we achieved, happening. That first year, you know, we had some good players. And then when he started, you know, and then Jimmy came in, QPR, and then George came in, Lawrence. Now you know you're in a battle to go and play.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other person that went under the radar that never got a real good mention for me, and he was really, really good for me, and I think most of the boys will tell you it was the same, was Frank McClintock.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And so was the doc. The only...
Bit of a good cop thing, was it?
No, I mean, they both rip your nuts off if you weren't doing it, but they were fair.
Yeah.
And, you know, but they used to put a lot of hard work in. They, you know, look, I speak to like some of the kids that I've brought through, you know, that are playing now, and they talk about video analysis and all that. We never used to have video analysis or anything like that. We didn't give a fuck about any of the other sides. Doc was, and Frank was all about what we did on the day.
Spot on.
And if we did what we were good at, it got to the stage where it didn't matter who we were playing. We knew we were going to steamroll them. We weren't the greatest technical side in the world, but I've never seen a side. I've never, you know, I've been in the coaching side of it as well, you know, at Sheffield Wednesday, at Swindon and Grimsby and Bury and places like that. I've never, ever seen a side with the mentality that Millwall squad had.
I love hearing
Absolutely.
that. I love hearing that, because in this day and age, like you say, I really wanted good football at the Den, but it's got to the stage now, it's getting silly and overplaying and overanalyzing, and players getting grade 1 tears and grade this tears and grade that tears. Back in the day, mate, you just put your best side out and have a fucking go. And that's what we're not doing under Gary Rowett. We're just sitting and defending and hoping for the best. Like you say, didn't give a fuck who he was playing. Frank and Doc just fucking went out there with a belief of do what we're good at and we can win the game. Was one a tactician, one a motivator, or was they a bit of both?
Both, yeah. Good man management. Well, they could man manage most apart from Murlock, but no, they were brilliant. They were really good. But what they brought in was people laughed at me, you know. You have to have a certain mentality to play for Millwall. Now, my mate phoned me up and asked me about the boy Bradshaw at Barnsley.
Right.
Now, had he not had the knee injury, he's a good player. He's a goal scorer.
Yeah.
An out-and-out goal scorer.
I agree.
And I said, yeah. And I know his mentality, because one of my close mates is like the academy director there, and he's a legend at Barnsley, and he just says nothing phases him, nothing. And that was when I said, yeah, if I was at Millwall, I'd take him. And they ended up paying £1 million for him, didn't they?
Yeah, mate. And a bit more.
He is a good player, and he will score goals, but that killed him, the knee injury. Absolutely killed him. You know, but going back to what you were saying about our squad, Teddy and Cass, George Lawrence, Dean Oryx, even some of the boys that came in on loan, Jerry Armstrong, God dear, unbelievable. You know, we had good strikers, but for me, Teddy was the cream of the crop. And him and Cass were brilliant together. Yeah. Two totally different players. Cascarino he was just brilliant in the air. He was just unplayable at times. And Teddy, for someone, you know, as people seem to think that he ain't got no pace, he's just so far ahead with his thought process. He was just incredible, unbelievable. His movement, everything that you needed to be a top player.
So the interesting one, you said, let's just dig back into the Gillingham days. Obviously, you played with Cass. Why do you not think they come and took Cass as well at the point they took you and Men? Was he not quite ready then, or?
No, I think it was because you know, when you look at going into one club and picking up 2 or 3 players all in one go, I don't know. I really don't know. But I was over the moon when he when he turned up. You know, it was brilliant. You know,
was he like anyone else in there any good? You're like, no, let's go, come on, quick,
yeah,
let's get up the road.
You know, but Cass could run all day as well. He was just an absolute machine. He was unbelievable. Just run, and he was an handful. And you know, a lot of people thought he was all left-sided, but he weren't. He could use both feet. His left side was his natural side, but you know, but in the air he was fucking frightening at times.
It's an interesting one you say about Cass and Teddy, which we'll get onto. But that first season under Doherty, we finished 16th. The Doc invested in you for a little bit. Teddy Sheringham and Michael Marks up front when you first joined.
Marksy, yeah.
That was
sorry, I forgot about Marksy.
Yeah,
Marksy, yeah. Again, you know, if I was to be quite honest, him and Teddy were very much, you know, very, very similar. Marksy was very cute, great first touch. You know, I think you touched on it. He scored hat-trick. And it was as good an hat-trick as you'll see. But he was what a lovely geezer as well. Top bloke. Darren Morgan, you know, good to come in. Just trying to think who else came in. You had the two Coleman brothers.
Yeah. But Teddy and Marks, he scored 27 goals that season between them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
For two youngsters that have come through the youth ranks.
And to think that
buzzing about it, mustn't they?
Oh, well, when you think that Teddy had to go to Aldershot on loan, didn't he?
Right.
He went to Aldershot on loan, I think, you know, prior to me coming in. And when he came, you know, when I joined and, you know, you could see the way he was playing, I'm thinking, how the fuck how has he gone to Aldershot? Should be going to fucking Arsenal or something, because he was quality. You could see it straight away. Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. You could see it straight away. He was absolutely top draw. And the proof was in the pudding. You know, he's gone on and done what he's done.
Yeah. In the first season at Millwall, obviously it was your first season, because there will be younger people watching this that won't remember the old Den, so I just wanted you to sort of sum up how you felt and sort of explain the old Den, if possible, at what it felt like to a player. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you needed to turn up with a crash helmet. I just remember the fencing, and on the top of it, it had spikes, and they were yellow.
Yeah.
And they used to spin round. And then you had the away end. We used to come out of the tunnel, and that was all caged in because they used to give us abuse. I remember them spitting at you, and it was scary.
Yeah.
And then when you got out there and you done well, listen, I mean, it was unbelievable. I thought to myself, what the fucking hell am I doing? What am I doing here? But they were just, they were brilliant. And when you hear these these players now saying, yeah, well, the crowd, they push it. This lot got us over the line on more than God knows how many occasions. Just like Walk says, when you hear no one likes us, just the hairs on the back of my neck used to stand up. I actually stopped in a game just to watch them. And all I heard was, get your fucking ass back, Budge. Move. No fucking doc.
Because on the wing, on the wing, you're more susceptible to hearing it, and you're on the wing as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard it. Burn you, C-U-N-T. I'll fucking see you in the car park and cut you up, you fucker. And this is my own supporters. It's unbelievable. And that was a game I remember, because it was against Middlesbrough, and Cass, we beat them 2, and I made both goals. Cass scored 2. I put 2 balls in, Cass scored them, and I got MOM. And this geezer was so I got in the changing room and I said to Terry, there's a geezer, I think you'll have to walk me down to my car. He said that he's going to wait in the car park for me if I didn't liven myself up. But
what by though? You set up 2 and got man of the match. Why does he want to wait for you? Should have set up 3. Should have set up 3.
Yeah. I don't. Well, it was just and the thing is, every time I was up one end of the pitch, he was walking up and down the fucking side. He was following. He was following me, and I just thought to myself, in the end, I said to Terry, "Come on, I'll come back. We're going to have a beer." And so that was just my excuse to get him to come down to the car park just in case. It was brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I loved every single minute. And like I said, I'd have signed a 10-year contract and without no rise, just that, whatever my basic wage was then, I'd have said, that'll do me for the next 10 years. I just didn't want to go.
So obviously you mentioned Terry Hurlock there, and you came from Gillingham with Dave Memmott. Was you close to those boys, and who was you close to in a changing room? Who did you room with? What was the atmosphere like in and around the players' dressing room?
Cool, now you're asking me, who did I room with? I've roomed with Terry quite a bit. I roomed with Terry in Barbados.
Oh, right. the famous trip.
It used to chop and change. I've been with Jimmy a few times. I've roomed with Rhino a couple of times. That was obviously when Walks and all of them, if they were injured or didn't travel or whatever. I had, different people that I'd actually room with.
Any you regret rooming with?
No, not really. Not really.
No snorers or anything like that?
No. Well, because I was, I was like the pup of the pro squad, if you like, because I'd only been, pro at 18 months or whatever. They used to fucking get me to go and get the sandwiches, make the fucking tea. And I said, well, hang on a minute, I'm fucking older than you. You fucking make the tea. But they was all pretty good. They was all really good, to be quite honest with you. I got on well with Walks. Macca, I still speak to Macca. I still speak to Jimmy. I speak to Terry. I haven't seen or heard Callie. I don't know where Callie is now. I don't know what he's doing, or Mem. I know Mem's out near Bexley, isn't he? Out that way.
Out my way, yeah. We're trying to track him down, mate. Because as I said, you seem to come as a pair, you two. He's you sort of stick with Memmott when you was come to Millwall. Who was you like really close with? I know you was all close, but if you could pick one or two.
Mem, like I say, because I knew Mem, like from Gillingham, and he was sort of my guardian, if you like. And when he came in, and then obviously he went, and then Danny turned up, and I knew Danny as well. So, I roomed with him a few times, but to be quite honest with you, mate, there weren't Danny Salmon.
Dennis, I know, yeah, of course.
But I've not, to be quite honest with you, mate, there's not one squad member there that I can honestly say was an arsehole. Not one.
Probably why you had the success you did. We finished 16th that season. But the following season, everything changes, mate. It's the pinnacle. The only time in the club's history we get promoted. You played 21 games and scored 2 goals. You start the season. New additions to the squad, Danny Salmon, as you mentioned. Chicken George Lawrence come towards the end. Tony Cascarino, Steve Wood. What do you think? Well, he's already doing well under Doc. He was moving in the right direction. What do you think pushed us to that next level?
Like I said earlier, it was, when you added those players, of what you just mentioned to the squad that we had that finished 16th, you just had that vision of things can only get better. And, when you look at where we were at Christmas, I think I ended up with a thigh injury. That's what caused me to miss the running and everything.
Yeah.
I'd actually got a tear on my thigh. And, but that was the good thing with Doc. He took me to every game. Never left me, to sit out. I've travelled. And I think, weren't we 10th or 12th, something at Christmas?
Yeah, something like that, mate.
And then we went on this unbelievable run. I think it was for 14, 15 games where we just couldn't get beat. And then when I can't remember it because I remember going to Hull on the Tuesday and Callie scored the penalty. And when we arrived at Hull, there was a case of champagne under the table in the dressing room. And Doc picked it up and fucking threw it out the fucking door because he didn't want anything. So I fucking went out and hid it. I went and picked it all up. Case of champagne or whatever it was, beer and shit. Anyway, we won the game. I can't remember from that Tuesday to the fucking Friday. I can't remember any.
I can assure you had a good time.
Oh, it was scary because we stayed up there. Well, that's a part of my life that I'll never ever get back. I just don't know where it went. What happened? It was incredible. Unbelievable. And we had like some of the punters kick the dressing room door in and they came in and there was punters in the dressing room before we come off the pitch because we were still on the pitch.
In the dressing room.
Yeah. In tears, grown men crying. Unbelievable. Just incredible. I don't think I'll ever witness anything like that again.
That's brilliant. They've actually waiting the fans waiting in the dressing room for you by the time you got in.
Yeah. Helping herself to the bottle of champagne.
That is brilliant.
But it was unbelievable, mate. I've only ever witnessed it once, and I don't think anything will ever cap that. The only thing that I was a little bit disappointed in is that I never got to play for Millwall in the first division.
Yeah.
I was in the squad for the first 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Because then Paul Stevenson arrived, didn't he?
Yeah.
Steve-O, he was a good lad. And I just felt I just wanted that opportunity, even if it was just for one game, but I never ever got it. So, but there you go. Never mind.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll stay on this subject because I'll read it in my notes, but I'll backtrack because you said it as well without realising it's in my notes. Was there a point where you felt the pressure? Because George Lawrence coming towards the end, and as a player, do you think, fucking hell, I've come from non-league, I've done this well, I've done well in my first season, I'm doing well in this season, and I can feel the pressure now trying to keep my shirt because George Lawrence is breathing down my neck. I've got Jimmy Carter and Callie already, 2 very good players.
Yeah, and then Paul Stevenson turned up, and yeah, it does. You start asking yourself, is this the end of the line? But Doc was brilliant. Doc said to me, Budge, just because I'm bringing these players in, that don't mean to say that you ain't going to play and you ain't going to do this. And he was true to his word because, like you say, I played 20, 25, 26 games that season.
Yeah.
But, he was bringing in a better quality of player than what I was, 100%. So at the end of the day, yeah, I was disappointed. Of course I was. But all I wanted to do was just to make sure that we got up. I didn't care whether, if I never kicked another ball. I just wanted us to get up. But I knew, I'm not just saying it now, I knew we were going to do it. I just knew, it was just a feeling. I remember when we went to Leeds, everyone talking about they're going to wait for us off the train and they're going to do this, they're going to do that. We went there and smashed them. And I mean, smashed them. The spine of the team was magnificent. Alan Walker, Rhino, or, Alan Walker, Stevie Woods, and, good, strong physical centre midfield, Erlock and Briley. They're the two that used to just make sure that the governors, if you like. Yeah. And when you look at people like, I remember when we went to Wimbledon, and I remember Doc saying to Terry, please don't get involved with Vinnie Jones. He said, don't, please. From the kickoff, I think it was a short ball. Terry's just fucking absolutely smashed him, and he squealed like a pig. And Terry weren't a dirty player. Terry was just tough, and he had thighs like tree trunks. I mean, he used to, I used to go and stay at his house, and I know Kath and the kids and all of that really, really well. He even dragged me out to go and do his paper round with him, because one of the paper boys didn't turn up. Come on, Budgie, we're going to go and deliver some papers.
Did he own a shop then or something?
Yeah, in Walthamstow, yeah.
What, he owned a newsagents, did he?
Yeah.
Well, you and Terry went and done the paper round. Oh my, that is classic.
Fucking unbelievable. But and then you had Teddy, Cash, George could play up top. But that season, like going back to that first season, when we finished 16th, Mem for me was, he was the one that used to make us tick. He was the one that you just wanted to get the ball into him, because he'd go and play off the striker and get into that little number 10 role, as they call it now. But, he had a passing range to die for. He was just different class. He really was a top player, and surprised he never really went on to bigger and better things, because he was another one that actually stood out. Even when I went to Gillingham, and you had people like Derek Howes, Terry Cochran, Mark Weatherly, and but Mem stood out. He stood out because he was, you give him the ball with two defenders in a fucking telephone box and he'd fucking come out with it.
It's a shame, because I think he only played one game that season, Dave. I checked, and you and him obviously very good players, and you may have been a little bit a victim of your own success, because we went like that so quickly through the leagues that you probably would have played more games for me, or if we hadn't gone up, wouldn't you?
To be quite honest with you, I played 60 odd games, in 3 years. That's, for a winger, 20 games a season is a good stat. Yeah. Because you're fucking closest to the touchline, it's easier to get the fucking rope around your neck to drag you off. That's what I used to say to Doc. Fuck me, I'll go and fucking stand in the middle of the pitch where your rope ain't long enough. I used to have a laugh about it, but his man management was really, he always told you, Budge, I ain't playing you today. Why? Because you were fucking shit last week. You ain't playing today. Simple. Yeah. And I used to say, well, fucking, it's your fucking choice, isn't it? His man management was good. I mean, games that I can relate to, like we played Aston Villa, first game of the season.
Yeah.
And we beat them 2-1 up there. And me and Jimmy and Frank McClintock pulled us afterwards, and he said, that's as good a wing display as I've seen from two wingers for a long, long time. We absolutely terrorised the two fullbacks. He had Kevin Gage and I had the ginger lad. Can't think of his name. I think Cass and Les scored.
Yeah, you're not talking about our first game in the top division, which we also played Aston Villa and we drew 2-2. You're talking about the year before, aren't you?
Yeah. When we
got
played,
promoted, we won the league. Aston Villa come second.
Yeah. I remember the last game of the season as well. I was still pissed. Blackburn. And someone had phoned up and told Crystal Palace, because they was in the running, weren't they, for going up, and told them that we were winning 4-1. And apparently it all went off at Selhurst Park that we were winning 4-1 and we were getting fucking dick 4-1. But no, and then we played them first game of the season, didn't we, up there in the Premier?
Yeah, that's right. That was 2-2.
And that's when
they scored both, didn't
he? Yeah. I was there. I travelled with the squad, so
it's really good, man. What you said, you've it's very amicable. You said, I didn't care if I didn't kick another ball. I just wanted to get up. And you also said he bought better in better quality players than me, and that's testament to you, and also obviously to Docherty's man management. But I'm an horrible bastard. I'll be like, he's shit. Don't play him. Play me. Why don't you play? I'll be sulking and everything. But you took it really well.
It's part of the football process. And, I found that out when I went on to the coaching side and the management side, under Paul Sturrock, under Dave Jones, people that I've worked under.
Yeah.
And I can then take it back and relate it to what happened at Millwall or happened at Plymouth. I played 89, 90 games for Plymouth in 3 years. And then they sold me to Watford for 100 grand. So I must have been doing something right,
Yeah.
Like I said, I weren't great, but there comes a time when, like the second season, and you could see these players coming in, George Lawrence, was playing for Southampton in the first division. He was top draw, and then, like you say, you got Cali. And then he started to bring then Paul Stevenson come from Newcastle, all real, good quality, top quality players to go and do. It was one thing that I remember. I can't remember if it was Doc or Frank. When you bring players in, bring in the players that will only get you to where you want to get to. What happens after that is irrelevant. But bring in the players that will get you to where you want to get to. And that's what he did. Yeah. He brought in players to get us to where we needed to get to. And that's what he was good at. Doc, he was brilliant, And the other one that, deserves a lot of recognition for the players that got brought in was Bob Pearson.
Yeah, mate, he's like a timeless figure in these interviews. So I've interviewed people from the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, and they all say, yeah, Bob Pearson was well involved. What was he like as a character, Bob? Did you get on well with him? Very quiet. Yeah, brilliant. Really, really well. He had, really by the way, did he? He had no football background, did he? None. To be quite honest with you, I don't know, but no, he didn't. When I first arrived, he was brilliant. If you had a problem, go and see Bob. He was one to talk to, and he was very close to my mentor, which was Ted Buxton. And Ted always spoke highly of him. And then when I finally met him and got to know him, top guy, very quiet, very reserved, but you could see there was a ruthless streak in him. And when you look at that, that Millwall youth side that got to the Youth Cup final, with Cali, and that's where, he knew Mem and all of them. He brought some great players through. I mean, a lot of people don't, remember, you had the two Coleman brothers. You had Phil on one side and Nicky on the other. Two good, solid defenders. That's mad, isn't it? Two brothers playing. That must be. Imagine how proud the parents must be. Two boys both playing in the same time as well for the same team. Must be unbelievable. Team, yeah, absolutely. And and you look at just the whole squad. The whole squad, was a real tough squad. And, I can't remember Doc or Frank really letting loose. Because if there was a problem in a dressing room,
it got fucking sorted by the players.
Was there any
fucking
in the dressing room? We've heard a couple. We've heard about Ruddock and Orney having a tear up. We've heard about Doc and McClintock having a tear up as well.
Yeah. But in them days, it never got out.
Yeah.
It was what happened in the dressing room stayed in the dressing room. You know, like you say, Neil Ruddock, the Jippo. I'll tell you a story. I went to watch Mark Hughes' Ian Rush's testimony, or something. It was Mark Hughes' testimony at Liverpool, and I was playing in Scotland at the time, and David James was the goalkeeper when I was at Watford, and I got tickets to go, and I ended up staying at David James's house that night. After the game, I'm standing in the bar, and Neil walked in, and I shouted across the bar, "Jibbo!" And he was going, "No." And I'm thinking, what's he on about? He went, no, it's Razor. I went, oh, fucking, what's all that about? He went, they don't know about my nickname Jibbo. Because you know how he got it. Apparently he had skiddies all in his pants that used to hang up in the dressing room. But I was very close with him as well, and I still speak to him now. He comes down and does, you know, Harry's Heroes and all that. So I've had a couple of nights out with him here, him and Paul Merson. That, you know, he was a great lad, and
Skidders.
I can't remember what game it was. We were going away somewhere, and he'd left Neil out the team, and we was at the Den getting on the bus to go and travel, and Razor said to me, "Budge, here, give that to Doc," and he gave me an envelope.
Yeah.
So bus is ready to leave. Doc and Frank are sitting at the front, and as I got on the bus, I just said, "Oh, Ruddock said to give you that." So, and then I just went up to my seat, up the back. You know, boys are all ready to have a game of cards. Doc's picked that up, and he went, "Budge, come down the front." So I fucking walked down the front, and he's left the microphone on, and he went, "What are you, a fucking postman?" I went, "What?" He said, "What are you?"
I say, actually, I do deliver newspapers with Terry Erlock.
Yeah. I said, "What are you on about?" He said, "What the fucking hell he's giving you this to give to me?" He's a fucking whatever. I can't remember what he said. But like, "Are you a fucking postman?" Because I give him the letter.
Did you ever find out what was in the letter?
Yeah, his transfer request.
Oh no. Okay, no, where that one?
He went fucking berserk. Doc, he went fucking mad. I thought, well, fuck me. That's me not fucking playing Saturday. I said, "Well, no, he just asked me to give it to you." He went, "Yeah, cool, fuck off, sit down." He said, but yeah, you know, just some of the stories were fucking unbelievable, mate.
Brilliant.
Really, you know.
That was brilliant, that one. Oh dear. So by this point now, we've been promoted. You know, you said you had now at this point you, Jimmy, Callie, George Lawrence. He brings in Steve-O. Do you have an idea the writing was on the wall? What was the chat you had with Doc in that summer? What was the chat you had with him? Did you have a chat with him?
I mean, no, not really. No, he came to my wedding when I got married, as did a lot of the boys. Come back pre-season. I played in the pre-season games, and then went to Villa, travelled with a squad. I can't remember who was the second game. I travelled with the first 2 or 3 games, but I didn't even get on the bench. That's when I knew it was probably time for me to go. And then Doc said to me, he said, "Look, I've had a phone call from Don Mackay at Blackburn. he said, there's a reserve game Tuesday. He wants to come down and pick you up. So I played in the reserve game. And then straight after the game, I got in the car with Don Mackay and went up to Blackburn. And that was it. That was the last time. That was the last time. And to be quite honest with you, I was fucking distraught. I didn't handle it very well, to be quite honest with you.
What, personally, or did you have a little dig, or did you?
No, I would never
struggle with forming your next club because of your art was still at the demo?
No, I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. I only went because I wanted to go and play some football.
Do you not think that he should have maybe give you that opportunity? Because I'm not being rude, George Lawrence didn't really succeed at Millwall. I think he got a lot of injuries. Steve-O was there for 4 or 5 years. Did you not say to him, Doc,
you know,
you brought me in.
Not really. Because
chance.
Yeah, I just wanted the opportunity to go and see whether or not I could handle it. And if after even if he'd have said after 20 minutes, Budge, get the fuck off, you ain't fucking, you're not doing it, then so be it. But I just wanted that opportunity. Yeah. At least then I could have turned around and said, well, yeah, I did. I played in the Premier.
Of course.
You know, but I never got that opportunity to play. Like Walks says, you know, when Walks went to Gillingham, you know, he was fucking distraught. I remember speaking to him in Barbados. He said, Budgie said, it's just not the fucking same. You know, when you've gone and done what you've done, it's just not the same. And then when you've got that, it's like, now you can understand what the fans are, you know, people like yourself, it's fucking ingrained in you. And that's how, even after 3 years, that's all it did. It just got ingrained in me. I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to go anywhere. But, you know, if I wanted to be a professional footballer, then I needed to go.
Yeah. You need to play games where you can as well, mate, don't you? You know what I mean? You only,
yeah.
It's a short
and I had 5 games at Blackburn and I'd done really well. They offered me a 3-year deal. And I was supposed to go and meet Alan Clark and he went down he was ill. I spoke to Billy Bremner at Doncaster. It just didn't sit right with me. And then I played, my last game for Blackburn was against Plymouth. And that's when I got fucking note.
Well, so listen, you told me off camera. So yeah, if you don't mind, tell us again. I said, how's that come about? You going to Plymouth, then you told the story.
He gave, the fullback at Plymouth, he pulled it out of his sock, like a little piece of paper with Ken Brown and his number on it. Can you give him a call after the game? And that's what I did. I spoke to Ken. I came down here. I looked about. I went over and see my uncle, who's now got a champion. He's turned some of his farmland into a championship golf course called Bowood. So and that was it.
Football's so different. So you're playing for Blackburn. It's your last game. The fullback pulls a note out of his sock, which has got his manager's number on it, and asks you to give his manager a ring.
Yeah, Ken Brown. Yeah. Then I spoke to Ken.
Oh, he kept me. He's the academy. The had something to do with Millwall, wasn't he, Kenny Brown? Yeah.
Kenny, his son. Yeah, I played with Kenny at Plymouth. Great lad.
Right.
Top.
Sorry. Yeah, his dad was also a pro and called Kenny, wasn't he?
Yeah, his dad was the manager.
Okay.
And I remember playing in a game with Argyle. And Ken Senior said, Budge, you got to get back and help him out. I said, well, pay me half his fucking salary. I'll fucking go and do half his job. That didn't go down too well. But we had a 4-ball. It was me and Kenny. We used to, because we had corporate membership at St. Melian, you know, the Nicholas course. We had corporate member. We was up there 3 or 4 times a week. It was fucking unbelievable. And it was me and Kenny used to play Sean McCarthy and Reece Wilmot. Remember, Reece Wilmot was the ex-Arsenal keeper, Sean McCarthy striker. And we used to play England versus Wales. You know, it was a bit of a grudge, but fucking Cork used to have some fucking drink.
You came into the program relatively late, as we said, 22, 23. And then we talked off air that you went on and had a good career after Millwall when you end up in Scotland, right? But then in 1995, at the age of 34, roughly, I'm guessing, you joined Spurs.
I was at Partick Thistle on for 3 years. I had 3 really good years there under John Lambie. I went to St Johnstone first, so I left Watford. Tell a lie, I left Watford and I went over to Ireland to go and see all my family, my dad's side, and I ended up playing a dozen games for Shamrock Rovers.
Right.
And it was from there I got a phone call from John McClelland, who used to play for Watford, Leeds, you know, the big Irish centre-back. He was the manager at St Johnstone, and Nigel Gibbs had given him a recommendation. So he phoned me and said, would I go up? And I said, nah, not for me. That was to play on the Saturday against Motherwell or someone like that. I went, nah, it's not for me, mate. It's not for me. So after the game on the Saturday, I played for Shamrock. On the Sunday, my phone goes again. It's John McClelland again. And he said, Dave, look, we're desperate for you to come. He said, I'd like to get you up here tomorrow on Monday and get you signed so that you can make your debut against Rangers. I said, right, fucking book me flights.
I'll come back.
So I ended up, I went up and I signed there. I signed a two-year deal. And after a year, Partick Thistle came in for me. I went to Partick Thistle. I had 2 or 3 good years there. And similar scenario to Millwall. It got to the stage where there was good kids coming through and, you know, a bit part player. And I went to, I'd finished there. I was going to sign for St Mirren, but it was a summer holiday. So I thought, right, I'll go home. And then I spoke to Jerry. Jerry phoned me up. And
Jerry Francis. Jerry Francis. Yeah, this time Spurs.
Jerry phoned me up. Said, look, we need 4 or 5 British-based players to compete in this European competition. Do you fancy it? He said, we'll pay you X amount of pounds per game. So I ended up playing. I played in every game. I can't understand why it says no, I didn't play. I played in all four games.
Yeah.
We ended up going to German side. Can't remember. Borussia Mönchengladbach or someone like that when they was in the Bundesliga.
Right.
And we needed a win, but they needed to win by 7 or 8 clear goals to qualify.
Right.
So we turn up for the game. All of a sudden, there's fucking TV cameras everywhere and fucking supporters here, supporters. They'd flown their first team back from a fucking pre-season in Italy to play in the game. We were 5-0 down. I hadn't even touched the fucking ball.
What, for Spurs?
Yeah. We ended up getting beat 8-1, I think it was.
Oh.
And they went through and we didn't.
What was it? It wasn't the Intertoto Cup or something. No, that was
Intertoto, yeah.
Was it the Intertoto
Teddy
Cup?
was at Spurs. Teddy was at Spurs at the time. I turned up at training ground and he went, what the fuck are you doing here?
That's a fucking. I was just looking through earlier on your Wikipedia. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Left Millwall, yeah, lovely. Plymouth, Watford, yeah, good career. Okay, coming to the end into Scotland, not a problem. Hang on a minute, what the fuck? He's got the Spurs.
Yeah, so I ended up.
Oh, just not what you know, mate. It's who you know.
Well, Chrissy Houghton took it with Roger Cross. Crossy, who was the first team coach at Millwall. So that was good because I knew Crossy straight, yeah. It weren't going in. But it was me, Mark Newson, who used to be at Bournemouth,
right.
And Alan Pardew, Ian Sanson.
So, sorry, you got this because Jerry Francis, you were related to him, or you was related?
Yeah. Well, his brother is my brother-in-law.
Has he got a lovely mullet as
well? My wife, he did have. My wife and Martin Francis, Jerry's brother, are sisters.
Sister, yeah, with you. Oh.
So Jerry, because I could have, he wanted me to go to Exeter.
Right.
And No, I couldn't go there.
Yeah,
That's like fucking. That's like asking me to go and play for West Ham.
oh, of course it is.
No
Yeah,
chance.
fuck me, Plymouth and Exeter. Yeah, of course it is.
You know, but you know, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I was quite lucky in the sense that most of the clubs that I played for, i.e., Watford, Millwall, it was all in the the higher divisions. And the same with when I went to Scotland, it was all in the Premier, which was brilliant. To go and play at Celtic with fucking 85,000, it was
Unbelievable.
frightening.
Unbelievable. Well, you stayed within the game as well. After the game, you went into coaching.
Yeah. Well, I came back. I had a knee injury, and then I loved it in Scotland. My son was born up there. I loved it up there. I ended up with a knee injury. I had an ulcerated patella, so I had to have it operated on. So I thought, right, there's nothing to keep me up there. I'm going to move back to Plymouth. So I came back here. And along with that, I just passed all my coach education, same as Alan Walker.
Sure.
So I then worked for the FA for 6 years. I was a lead tutor in Devon and Cornwall. I was delivering level 1s, 2s and 3s. Okay. And I'd done that for 6 years. Then I set an academy up at a place called Plymouth College of Further Education. And alongside that, I went in to coach at Argyle because I got Paul Sturrock in there.
Okay. He was quite successful then, wasn't he?
Oh, unbelievable. He's the best manager they've ever had. So anyway, he's done what he done here. And then he went to Swindon and he took me with him. And I went down there as head of youth, first in coach, then Paul left to come back to Plymouth and he said, come on, we're going back to Plymouth. I went, nah, I'm going to stay here. So I stayed there. And in my first year, I got to the quarterfinal of the FA Youth Cup.
Nice.
And I had people like Sean Morrison, Ben Tozer, Lucas Djukovic, some real good talented players. And then when Paul left, I took over as caretaker manager.
Right.
Then they brought in Maurice Malpass. I didn't really want the job. They brought in Maurice, but Maurice wanted me to stay on as his assistant. Maurice was on hiding to nothing from the word go. Maurice left, and then I took over again. And
yeah, I see you had a few roles, different roles at Swindon, a few, didn't you?
I'd done 30 odd games as a caretaker.
Really?
And done really well. I thought, maybe I should give it a go. And then they brought in Danny Wilson, and I assisted Danny for the rest of that season. And then while I was away on summer holiday, Danny brought in his own assistant without even saying nothing to me. So in the end, I thought, right, I'm off. So, I ended up going to Sheffield Wednesday with Dave Jones.
Right. So you've had a good go, mate, and you're in the coaching game as well.
The coaching and the recruitment. I love the recruitment side of it. Look at the players like Charlie Austin and Simon Cox, Gordon Greer, some really good players. Sean Morrison, he's Cardiff captain now.
Yeah.
I took him from here.
Is that the one at Birmingham?
Birmingham, yeah.
Yeah.
He had five moves all over £1 million.
Some people think Rowett's got half an eye on him for next season.
Lucas, he's an handful.
Because he should have had a straight red against us the other week. Stamps on one of our players.
He's a poor man's Cascarino.
Mate, wait a minute, mate. We got no strikers would take anyone.
Cass was big, strong, but Cass, he can link. He was a good linker of the play.
Yeah.
But getting across centre backs, he was magnificent. Lucas reminds me of Cass. He really does. What's happened to Bradshaw? Is he?
Mate, it's so strange. So I like him, right? He grafts, but what he has to do in this type of team is it's not like it used to be with strikers, is it? You don't even have two strikers really anymore. You have one that has to link the play, go looking, and Bradshaw is a poacher. Under Harris, he scored 7 goals in 7 games. His goals to game ratio for Mill isn't bad. Obviously, he had the bad injury as well. But he just isn't fancied. But he's just had the option to extend his contract for another season, which he has done. But he's not really in favour with the manager. So I think he's took the option. I think he's down our way because his missus is from down here and they've got a kid and that. So it suits him. But I can see him ending up at Gills, something like that.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
He's a good player. He's a good goal scorer.
He gets a lot of unfair shit from our fans, I think. He don't get anywhere enough game time to prove himself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the one thing with the Millwall supporters as well. They don't hold back. They let you know, and that's why I said, who was the head of recruitment there? What was his name? He used to work for the papers, and then he's fucking, what was his name?
Alex Aldridge.
Yeah.
He's gone now, mate. So you can say what you like. He started news at Den, didn't he? Fair play to him, and then he got into the. He's done better than I've done because he's got a fucking route into the club, and then he's just gone and joined Stoke now. He's their head of recruitment.
Yeah. Listen, nice enough lad, but fucking hell, hang on. Do me a favour. Listen.
Classic. One thing we haven't spoke about, by the way, is when you said to me when we spoke on the phone the other day, you was actually a coach at Bury when they went under.
Yeah, I was assistant manager. Yeah,
you was the assistant manager at Bury when it all went. What was that like that day when we thought it was going to? I mean, look, they've gone there, and we used to go up there, and it's a lovely little shitty old ground. And they used to, for the last couple of times we've been there, we won 3-1 one year, we won 3-2 another, and they had a little firm who used to come and try and have a go and cause havoc. Those idiots, but at the same time, it was a good little day out. Do you know what I mean? I really did feel for them when they went under. What was it like that day? You and Bolton, wasn't it? You and Bolton were both potentially going to go on the same day, and they got saved, Bolton, didn't they?
Because the one of the top dogs at the EFL is a Bolton supporter.
Fucking hell.
They were a fucking disgrace. But saying that, the geezer that was that bought the club for £1 he was a bigger crook than fucking Dick Turpin. Honestly, I don't wish ill of anybody, but I did him. He was scandalous, absolute scandalous. And I've never had training facilities like I had at Bury. They had Man City's old training ground, Carrington. Fuck. Splash baths and saunas, jacuzzis.
Oh, really?
And 6 or 7 pitches. Beautiful pitches. Yeah, unbelievable. You've never seen anything like it. And it all just went. And
it like that day, like that must be a very unique experience to see a club.
To be quite honest with you, I'm glad I wasn't there. I'm glad I weren't there because the LMA phoned me and said, Dave, listen, you ain't got to go back in. You can't keep going up and back, and you ain't going to get paid. Lucky enough, I was never not paid.
Yeah. But
it weren't coming from him. It was coming from money that they were getting in from other places, for transfers that were owed and this, that, and the other. And he was just rinsing the club. He was just rinsing them.
Didn't they get him and the captain on Sky Sports and fucking had him go at you? Yeah. They did, didn't they? I remember that.
Davey Dawson, and he was right, Dawson. The geezer was a wrong 'un, absolute wrong 'un. And at the end of it, I didn't have to go in. So I weren't there when they actually put the padlock on and brought the coffin up. They brought a coffin outside, but it was heartbreaking, mate. Heartbreaking.
Not just the hard work you put in there at the club, but also just it's such a long history, the club, didn't it? It ain't been going 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
No, well, they got the promotion, didn't they? And listen, I could tell you a story, mate. It's frightening. I mean, how do you pay someone $9,000 a week in the second division?
What?
And £500 or £600 a point win bonus.
Who was on that?
In the second. Oh, I can't tell you, but
a player was on it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And they wonder why they went fucking tits up.
9 bags.
It's just, it was just absolutely unbelievable, mate. It was frightening. The contracts that were handed out. And Ryan Lowe was the manager. And he obviously he read the script because he got out, him and Shuey got out, got their pay up, and he got the job here at Plymouth. He's a good lad. I know him as well because he was at Sheffield Wednesday when we were there.
Right.
As a player. He read the script. He knew exactly what was going to happen. And he got out. And then my mate got the job. And then he phoned me up and said, look, do you fancy it? And like a dick, I said, yeah. Okay. But we put a great little squad together. And we beat Port Vale 3-1. We lost 2-1 to Blackburn pre-season friendlies. And that was it.
James Vaughan was there at one point scoring goals, wasn't he?
Yeah. Listen, they had a good little squad.
Yeah.
A good little squad. And we added to it and we knocked $800,000 off the wage bill.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, mate. Jesus Christ. Such a shame.
And that's when I felt time to chuck it. Time to chuck
You're
it.
not in the game no more then?
I'm not at the moment, mate. No. I'm doing, I'm doing a couple of little bits and pieces for a couple of clubs, just helping them, but the game's, until this virus is over, mate, it's going nowhere.
Yeah, true.
Nowhere.
Everyone's treading water, aren't they? Everyone's treading water. We're just waiting for it to jump back up.
At the end of the day, mate, clubs will only start spending when the crowds, when the fans are allowed back in.
So bringing it back to your time at the club, I always end with the same questions, and that is, if you can pick one standout memory from your time at the club, what would it be? And if you go for a drink, one last night out with 3 of your ex-Mill teammates, who would you take? You can only take yourself and 3 others.
Erlot would definitely be one. Mem. Mem. And probably Alan Walker.
Walks, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And if you could pick a memory for your time at the club, I know there's probably a few.
Having that medal placed around my neck on the last day of the season.
You're quite at the forefront of when Doc's going, sing it, you bastards. You're right there, aren't you? Giving it that one.
No, I'm down doing that. I'm on the side like that in my tracksuit because I was injured, and I was in that's how I got the crate of booze back in, because when they all went out, I went back in and got the crate and took it back in the dressing room.
Brilliant, mate.
But the other thing that sticks out as well is my family as well. My cousin. I think you've spoken to Steve, and I've converted him to a Mill supporter. He goes everywhere, home and away.
Yeah, he's on one of my live streams the other day. He's on one of my live streams.
Yeah, so, and his dad played a part, in relation to me going to Gillingham and Millwall, because I weren't sure whether it was the right thing to do. To give up my job.
What was your job?
As a carpenter. I was a carpenter.
Oh, what? Roof carpenter, like doors and
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, first, second fix, windows, everything. And it was his dad that actually, my cousin Stephen's dad, my Uncle John, he said, go and give it a go.
Yeah.
You don't want to go and then get into a part of your life where you said, if only. So that's what I did. And, it turned out, like you said, I didn't have a bad career, for an average player.
Well, mate, to stay in the game, as long as you have into the coaching as well, only just to come out recently when Berry went, Pop, you've done so well to go from carpenter to championship winning footballer. I'll take me out off to you, mate. Well done. Brilliant. Great stuff.
And, I'd like to, on my tombstone, the lion. It ain't on here, but just have that stuck on there, because it is like Waltz. Waltz said to you, Millwall's his club, and it's the same with me. Millwall's my club, because that's where, we had the success that I'd love to and hope and pray that it can be replicated, but it's just getting harder and harder now, mate.
Well, the money in the game, mate. It's not the desire. It's just the money in the game, and it's going to make it so difficult.
Yeah. But to be quite honest with you, mate, if they can do it, brilliant. I hope they can. But the club's always, as long as the club remains the way they are, then, I'm happy.
Brilliant, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'd love having you on.
It's been a pleasure, mate. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get face to face. I'll make a point of coming up and I'll speak to Jimmy and see about coming and doing a Q&A in the lounges. I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, mate. It's a good day in there, to be fair. In that
but it is, yeah. I just got to book 3 days off work, and then because I know I won't go home.
Brilliant, mate. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Dan.